What's up, guys? I'm Fugi here, and I just want to start this video with a quick apology for my last video. I don't know why, but the quality was super messed up. There was no option to make it in HD on YouTube, unlike the past videos that I've uploaded. So I'm not quite sure what was wrong, but hopefully I won't give those problems again. And I'm here with another open series between Starmaster and Arii Stella. Starmaster again, giving him a chance at redemption on my channel. And anyway, let me just tell him we can go. Okay. So, looking at Star's team, he has standard stall. It's going to be specially defensive Registeel, physically defensive Gligar with Defog, also Defog Moltres with pressure in order to PP stall, unaware Quagsire to stop sweepers. I'm not sure if they run physically defensive or specially defensive Umbreon, and they use Toxicroak mainly to wall Arachnid. Is that what the thing's called? I believe it's called Arachnid. Yeah, this Pokemon, basically its ability Water Bubble makes it so water moves do double damage. So they use a Spiderweb set, which functions basically as Mean Look and trap Pokemon on stall. But anyway, he has Toxicroak stall to stop that, and Arii Stella just reveals that she's Stealth Rock Gligar. So basically in the few turns that happened, Arii set up rocks, and Star also got his rocks, but tried to Toxic Gligar, but Rocks Gligar can't be Toxic because they're able to use immunity when they don't have Defog on them. So then he scouted to see U-turn. Arii, because he protected, feared that he'd stay in and Toxic again, so she went for the Earthquake, as Star just went to his own Gligar, and revealing that it's knockoff Gligar, which without the Eviolite, Gligar on Arii Stella's side isn't going to be doing much differently than before. The only difference I can think of is Moltres' Flamethrower will now 2-hit KO it. And here's an interesting turn for Star. So basically he has to switch because he doesn't know if it's physical or special. If it were physical Sharpedo, Star could just tank the Waterfall and then Earthquake. And if it is special Sharpedo, it'll get walled easily by Umbreon. Physical Sharpedo also has trouble breaking through Umbreon, but with one flinch from Waterfall, it'll be easily broken down. And so Star does just decide to go to Umbreon, as Arii Stella reveals she's Hydro Pump, which is going to be a hindrance this game, because for one, Umbreon will be able to better wall it, Registeel will be able to better wall it, and Toxicroak honestly has a chance to wall it too without Psychic Fang. So it's really unfortunate for Arii Stella that she's going to be special Sharpedo. On the bright side, she can't get walled by Quagsire, I suppose. But anyway, Star just sets up a Wish. Chestnut in RU generally does not run Drain Punch, so Star has the option to stay in here and not click Protect because nothing is going to be able to threaten him. He just clicks Foul Play as, yeah, this thing is revealed to be Rocky Helmet. Rocky Helmet will not be helping Arii Stella pretty much at all this game. However, Chestnut is extremely threatening, and the only thing Star can really bring in on it comfortably is Moltres and maybe Toxicroak. I'm not sure what Toxicroak runs on stall exactly, but every time Moltres comes in, it's going to take 50%, so if Arii Stella had, for example, on turn 9, double to Sharpedo, Star would be in a really awful position. He can't let Moltres take rocks too recklessly. I believe it is double Defog, so I think the Gligar should be able to defog these away, but Gligar does not wall almost anything on Arii Stella's team. Chestnut with Taunt, I would assume, has enough speed to outspeed Gligar, though I'm not fully confident in that. So Star is really going to be, what's the word? Stretched thin by this Chestnut with rocks up all the time. Definitely a potent stall breaker. After, she did make a risk of staying in, but if Star had Flamethrower, the Chestnut, first of all, he'd be at like 63% with rocks still up, which would be dangerous for Moltres, and I believe that Chestnut will be able to take one Flamethrower from defensive Moltres. Another thing is that these Moltres sets generally run Will-O-Wisp opposed to Toxic, so Cresselia will be able to come in easily and wall it at any point, although Will-O-Wisp will be nice for potentially statusing the Dragalge. And speaking of Dragalge, I don't know how to say it, Dragalge, Arii Stella doesn't just directly go into it, which confuses me because, yeah, it's not going to take much damage. Okay, and I understand now. It seems as if this Dragalge is Specs. My guess is that Arii Stella is almost certainly going for Focus Blast here, if it is Specs. And Starmaster has the same feeling as she goes for Sludge Wave, and that's... I don't think that is Specs damage, unless it's Defensive Gligar, so I have to wonder what set this Dragalge is. I don't see any other Pokemon that can run a Z-move. This thing is Rocky Helmet, this thing's Eviolite, this thing's Eviolite, this thing's Life Orb. So it's either this or Cresselia that has the Z-move. Cresselia had leftovers, yeah, so I guess the Dragalge is actually Z-move. But based on the fact that Arii Stella switched there, I have to assume that it's not Devastating Drake. Otherwise, she could have easily OHKO'd this Gligar. So I have to wonder, maybe it's Z Sludge Wave? Maybe it is Specs, honestly? I'm really confused. She uses U-turn, I suppose, just to waste some PP from Gligar and Pivot. Arii Stella's Gligar will be advantaged since it's slower than Starmaster, and she's already lost her Eviolite, so there's no reason for her to fear any move from, Okay, so Star's gonna leave for a second. Arii Stella just sets up rocks, and as Star continues to knock off, he can defog, but Stealth Rock has more PP than defog, so this is not a good endeavor for Star, but he can go to Moltres, which will basically continually wall the Gligar. And, let's see, I don't know if he left. Let me just pause to see if he's actually gone for the moment. Alright, so Star does come back eventually, and he just keeps continually going for the knockoff. Not sure if I agree with this. Eventually I think he just has to go Moltres on it. Arii Stella decides to break this cycle of endless pursuit, and just goes to her Chestnut. Once again, I'm not sure if Chestnut outspeeds, but she doesn't want to take a knockoff. Helmet's honestly not useful, so it wouldn't be a big deal if she took a knockoff, but she's still continuing this cycle of setting up rocks every time, but I think that Star should just go to Moltres. Yeah, he does make that play, which is good. Another scary thing is, though, considering this Dragalge is likely Z-move, if he lets it use the Z-move, his Moltres will be in trouble. And Arii Stella, I don't understand U-turning at all. It literally does 0%, and it wastes a PP, so there's no reason to do that, but honestly, it very, very likely will not matter in the long run. Star just goes to Registeel, scared by this, and 20%, yeah, I don't think that's Choice Specs. I really think it's Z-move, but based on the way that this game has been going and how Arii Stella has been playing her Dragalge, I don't think that it has Focus Blast or any way to touch Registeel, really. Star is probably going to want to defog these away, but might Will-O-Wisp first. Okay, he just Flamethrowers. Cresselia almost has to heal here. So yeah, okay, they do run Toxic, actually. So Star gets the Toxic off on Cresselia. The issue for for Arii Stella here is that Star has a Heal Beller, and she does not. And also, Moonlight has only 8 PP, and will be worn down extremely quickly. Gligar also gets many opportunities to defog, and Chestnut does let Moltres in, but if he taunts immediately here, even if Star goes to Moltres, that's basically like a Moltres at 57%. So he gets his lefties, he's going to Flamethrower here and get another lefties, but then he's forced to switch. Well, he would have been forced to switch at least if Arii had gone to Dragalge? I have no idea how to say it. Anyway, Star just keeps Flamethrowing because Cresselia is not threatening to Moltres. Honestly, taunting was basically pointless if Arii decided to go to Cress, but for some reason Star doubles to Registeel. I guess he just didn't want to take a Toxic, however, I feel like it would have been better to just heal the Moltres, or even at least defog the hazards. Star goes for the Seismic Toss. Here's another issue. Arii Stella basically has to taunt because she can't afford to let Chestnut take a Toxic, and she doesn't even bother taunting, and that's basically a dead Chestnut. Once again, Arii Stella has no Aromatherapy or Heal Bell user, and, okay, Star just sacks his Moltres. I don't want to say sacks because he's almost certainly going to defog the hazards away with Gligar eventually, but still, I don't agree with this constant switching to it, despite the fact that rocks are up. Once again, I know that they run some weird defensive-ish Toxicroak. I'm not sure what set it is, but I feel as if it would have been a better switch into Chestnut than Moltres is, when Moltres is repeatedly taking 50% every time it enters the field. So, some questionable plays from Star, at least in my opinion. But also, I don't think he really needs Moltres for anything except Chestnut. He has Umbreon for Double Aid, and those are pretty much the only two Pokemon that Moltres threatens. However, he does want to have a lot of Defogs so that he's able to outstall the Gligar, because Defog has less PP than Stealth Rock, so you need double Defoggers in order to beat Stealth Rock Gligar. So he can't really sack his Moltres. At the same time, I don't think Crest can do anything here. I feel like he should have just Flamethrowered and then healed up his Moltres, but he decides to go to Gligar. He could either defog the hazards away or just knock off. Either way, he's not going to accomplish much, really. Arii Stella could stay in, go for the Toxic, but it's not going to gain her anything. Okay, she takes the knockoff and goes for a Toxic. Now her Cresselia takes 18%, the next turn it'll take 24%, so if he knocks off it'll do 16 plus 24, it'll do 40% in total. So if she Moonlights here, she's only going to be at 53%. So 53% is not a good number to have Cress at, and if she switches it's even worse, it's going to be at 43%. Factoring in rocks, that'll be either 30 or 40%. So it's really not good here because she's falling into range where she'll be 2 KO'd by Moltres, and also the Dragon, which is what I'll call it from now, is going to have to make repeated switch-ins into Moltres, except Arii Stella has no Wish Passer and Dragalge has no recovery, so that's not really useful for her. Even as she U-turns on Moltres coming in, it's only going to do 3%, and thus Moltres is going to gain 3% from the exchange because of leftovers basically nullifying what Gligar does. And a big issue with Dragalge is it basically lets Registeel in for free, and that allows Star to get rocks again. He makes the switch into Umbreon, doesn't want to risk his Registeel, I suppose, which makes sense, but once again, I don't believe that this Dragalge has Focus Blast or anything. And this is basically a Wish Pass to Moltres, and Moltres is back to, let's see, 90%? Yeah, 86%. And because Star doesn't even have his rocks up, there's no issue with him just defogging. Once again, I think that Moltres is just gradually going to beat Arii Stella's entire team. So Star, once again, I believe he can go directly to Registeel on this because I don't think it's Focus Blast. But let's just see what he does. Arii Stella is in already a pretty terrible position, honestly. I could see her forfeiting pretty soon. She goes for the Toxic Spikes, that's a fair play, but Star also has a Poison type, which comes in on the Mon she's been going to the most this game, which is Chestnut. Toxicroak basically comes in right on it, and she kind of needs to go to it a lot in the game. Now her Gligar's at 41%, as Star just goes to Moltres, doesn't play around at all. I guess that's a good play because Arii Stella does go for Stealth Rock, and Star kind of makes a weird play, goes for Flamethrower. It wouldn't have KO'd the Gligar. Actually, no, he knocked off the Eviolite. So it would have KO'd the Gligar, so it makes sense that Star's going to go for it, but since he didn't connect it on the Gligar, he's in a really awful position because rocks are still up. At the same time, Moltres is at 100%, it can afford to take one rock switch in. Gligar still switches in on a lot of Arii Stella's team and gets the defog off. Registeel still walls Dragalge, and it's immune to Toxic Spikes, and Toxicroak at some point will be able to absorb these Toxic Spikes. So that's the thing about RU Stall when you use it, like, you're pretty much in control all game unless your opponent has a really potent Stall Breaker, which Arii Stella does not have one. So Star is just going to defog. Okay. He's lucky that she didn't go for a Z move, because Z Draco would have killed by far. It would have done about 120%, honestly. Like, maybe 115%. So Star now gets to Roost because Z Draco would not kill at -2. Honestly, I'm wondering if this Dragalge even is Z move. It's clearly not. It's not Specs because it's using Toxic Spikes, and that damage is just not Specs. But it's clearly offensive. So my guess is that it's Z Sludge Wave. But without Focus Blast. The last move, I suppose, could be, I don't know, maybe HP Fire for Escavalier to break those Escavalier balance teams that are very popular in RU. But anyway, she pretty much has to switch here. Star could even Flamethrower, not that it really matters. I would have Flamethrower just to put enough damage on this Cresselia. Without leftovers, Flamethrower literally would have 2 KO'd, so I think Flamethrower would have been his play there because there was nothing that Arii Stella could do to prevent it. Maybe she could have went directly to Sharpedo, but it's whatever now. She just heals up. Toxic's going to do, what, 12% here? Yeah. And the next turn it's going to do 18%. So yeah, she's gonna go to 39. And if he seismic tosses here, it would pretty much nullify any recovery, but he just directly switches to Moltres. A great play because he catches her Gligar, and Arii Stella honestly does not have an out to win this game at this point, unless she gets very lucky, or she surprises Star with the Z move on Dragalge. But honestly, she would have probably been better off being Black Sludge this game, because the main issue is that Moltres like runs a train on her entire team. And she doubles directly to Cresselia. Honestly, Star could double back to Moltres, but he doesn't really need to because he's pretty comfortable knowing that she'll recover. And he can get his rocks here once again, as Arii Stella does just go to Gligar, but this thing still lets Moltres in for free, and without its Eviolite, Flamethrower is going to do like maybe 50%. So now what is she supposed to do? Cresselia is Toxic, but it's at a pretty decent percent, I believe, to wall Moltres. Alright, she just goes to Sharpedo, takes 43%. Honestly, I thought I'd do a little more, not even gonna lie. Moltres has like base 125 special attack, so Star just directly goes to Toxicroak, as Arii doesn't even bother predicting it. Now her Sharpedo is basically dead regardless, so Star could have won Umbreon, because I believe it's at 100%. Oh no, it's at 69%. I take it back. She goes to Doublade. I'm not sure what she was predicting. Star was thinking the worst case scenario was that she goes to Doublade, and the best case scenario is... No, the worst case scenario is that she Ice Beams, and the best case scenario is that she goes to Doublade. Umbreon was able to cover both of those plays, and he really needs his... Well, he doesn't really need it, but it's really nice for him to have his Umbreon at 100%, or at least 85% at this point. He just Heal Bells. Gligar gets cured of poisoning. That's not a huge deal. He didn't even need to Heal Bell. He can Wish here because he's not really concerned about Chestnut taunting, but he decides to go directly into Moltres because Flamethrower is still extremely threatening to Arii Stella's team, and there's no reason to really let her get spikes for free. This Cresselia is going to get 2 KO'd, and that's pretty much going to signify the end of this game. She should forfeit here, honestly, or at least I would, not to be rude. But Moltres falls literally everything except a Sharpedo at 10% after Rocks. And after Rocks, it has to take Life Orb damage, which means it dies as well. So she decides to go to Dragalge. One more Rock Switch in, and this thing is going to die to Flamethrower as well. And in the meantime, both Umbreon and Registeel probably wall it. Once again, she doesn't go for the Z move, so I'm really questioning whether or not she is a Z move. Star makes a weird play roosting. I see no reason to roost there. I think he's afraid of something that that Arii just doesn't really have. And so it's making him make a little bit of nutty plays, because now that his Moltres dies after Rocks, he really needs to defog in order to stay in this game. On the bright side, Arii Stella's Rocker is also completely walled by Moltres. Okay, I really, really disagree with that Gligar switch in. That makes absolutely no sense to me. Stars, if she had Draco'd there, then Starmaster would like actually be in a position to lose. Makes no sense to me whatsoever, but it works out because she goes for the Sludge Wave, and he'll probably be able to defog the hazards away here. And then once he gets the Roost off with Moltres, he basically wins the game. All he needs to do is either get Rocks up one more time, or just hit this Dragalge once, and then he'll be fine. He can honestly Earthquake, because the only thing that Arii Stella could switch in, like she can go Chestnut, I suppose, which is actually annoying for Star. So yeah, I think that Star just has to defog here. I'm assuming that the taunt Chestnut is faster than Gligar, in which case defog is like the only play he can make, and she should just finish this Gligar off with the Draco Meteor. And she goes for the Z move. Star stupidly roosts, and he barely lives it actually. Okay, I think it is specially defensive. Yeah, that's absolutely, like, it at least has some special defense, but I really don't agree with roosting. I would bet on that being a roll with potential to KO. So Star, once again, just misplaying. I don't agree with the way he's playing this. Draco will do 50%-ish, because Draco does, yeah, okay. He shouldn't roost. Okay, he finally makes the right play and defogs. Now he's just going to go to Umbreon, wear this thing down with Life Orb, and once it's dead, Moltres will literally win. All he needs to do is get like 5% more on the Dragalge, and also Moltres can take a Draco now because she doesn't have the Z move anymore. And Star basically gets a Wish off. The only play Arii Stella can make is to go into Dragalge and then double, because if she takes a foul play, she'll literally lose outright. So that's what she decides to do. I don't think Draco does 46. I hate when people use stall and they play it too safely. Like, there's no reason to protect there. You could just foul play and win. It's prolonging the game for no reason, but does 22% with the foul play, and as I suspected, it is HP Fire to really disrupt those Escavalier balance teams. Foul play, even with no Eviolite, does 17% to Gligar, and Star can just double to Moltres. He goes to Gligar for some reason. That makes no sense. Like, this thing is... Yeah, U-turn, Earthquake, Roost, Stealth Rock, so why would you ever not go to Moltres? I don't understand the way that he's playing this. Anyway, I have to go do something just for a second, so give me a second, guys. Okay, sorry about that. So she just U-turns directly into Double Aid as Starmaster gets another chance to heal up his Moltres. +2 Shadow Claw, maybe with a crit will KO. Yeah, a crit would have KO'd. But the issue is, this thing is in potential Shadow Sneak range. It might die to Shadow Sneak at 39%. Knowing this, he decides to play it safe and go to his Quagsire. That's a fine play. Everything still lets Moltres in for free, so... Yeah, he could just Scald, and he could have Earthquaked, it doesn't really matter. Unaware means that he'll take literally nothing from Shadow Claw. She goes to Chestnut. The issue is this thing lets Moltres in for free, and Moltres will kill every single Mon from this point in the game, so honestly I could just pause and show you guys the end. It'll be Moltres clicking Flamethrower on all 4 Pokemon. And I don't want this video to be too long, so I'll just start when Game 2 starts. Okay, so as you can see, she had just forfeited like right when I stopped recording because this was going to be an over game, so Game 1 goes to Starmaster, and I'm not going to lie, I'm hoping this is a 2-0 because I'm not trying to watch a really long series. Yeah. Anyway, looking at Star's team, so remember when I said that the Dragalge set that Arii Stella was using last game was to disrupt the Escavalier, Gigalith balances? This is the type of team I was talking about. That's why I had HP Fire over Focus Blast. It really bothers this type of team. Anyway, she's using a pretty standard balance, and Star is using a really weird team. He's gonna be... I can already tell how hard-pressed he will be by Toxic Spikes. He has Defog Gligar, but at the same time, Defog is your only way to remove Toxic Spikes, and 3 Pokemon that really need not to be poisoned is a pretty terrible combination, and he already just lets his Chestnut take a poison. His is also Rocky Helmet, it seems. I'm not sure what they use Rocky Helmet for, but he's just gonna... Okay, he's Taunt Rocky Helmet, same set as Arii was last game. He's probably just gonna start setting some spikes, which will force Arii Stella to defog eventually, which will get rid of the Toxic Spikes, but Star could have just defogged on his own. So I don't really understand this thought process, just sacks his Chestnut for no reason, and he doesn't even have anything that can OHKO this Escavalier at full. So I have to assume he goes to Gligar, which will let Arii Stella's Gligar in, and basically waste all the work that Star did when he sacked his Chestnut, because the hazards are about to get defogged away. So I'm not sure what the point of this was. He just Earthquakes the Escavalier. She's going to knock off the Eviolite first before doing anything. And now she's most likely going to hard switch to Gligar, as Star might U-turn, but if he U-turns and Arii Stella clicks knockoff, that's a pretty awful position for him. As, yeah, he does just Earthquake again, and maybe he's Taunt Gligar? Yeah, that makes a lot more sense. So, my bad for making fun of Starmaster. I mean, he did choke the last game, like, a lot of times, to be fair. As he just roosts, takes the knockoff. He's already lost his Eviolite, so it's not a big deal. With all these hazards up, this game is going to be a quick one, and he's going to have dominant control. But this Pokemon can definitely be an issue for him. It's Sub-Leech Seed Shaman. They run enough HP EVs to live a Seismic Toss with their sub. And also, because his Gligar's not U-turn, he can't get momentum while he... Okay. It is Psychic, so it's walled by Registeel, but that doesn't matter at all when you're using Leech Seed. And here Starmaster is going to go for the Z Shadow Ball, most likely, and pretty much take a kill, but he'll do like 70 to Shaman, which isn't awful. He'll kill the Escavalier, 2 KO the Dragalge, kill the Sharpedo. Gigalith is Arii Stella's best switch-in. With the Leech Seed, it'll be able to shrug off a... Z Shadow Ball pretty easily, but if Starmaster also could just go for the Nasty Plot here, Nasty Plot is a fine play. He's going to do good damage to anything, and he can't be OHKO'd by Shaman. I don't think Seed Flare is going to do 50. I'm assuming this thing runs 0 special attack. Well, I could just see psychic damage. It'll do double psychic damage. So it'll do, yeah, 52%. So it will kill with Leech Seeder. It's most likely a roll. It'll be really close regardless. So Star's best play here might just be to go for the Z Shadow Ball, but Gigalith does take that fairly easily, and these Toxic Spikes are still going to bother Star a lot. So even though he won the Hazard War, he still has Toxic Spikes up, which are super annoying for Sharpedo specifically, because I think that Sharpedo is the win condition of Starmaster, and honestly, Sharpedo might be a win condition for Arii Stella too, but Star, as long as Star doesn't get flinched with his Registeel, it should be fine. He doesn't really have much of a reason to bring Registeel in on anything else, so it won't get weakened. Arii Stella's thinking a lot here. I feel like she doesn't want to sack her Shaman. Personally, what I would do is go directly to Gigalith, because I don't think that Starmaster has the balls to just Nasty Plot outright when he could die to Seed Flare. So that's what I would do. Gigalith is going to take a Z Shadow Ball pretty easily, so let's just see. He does go directly for the Z move, as she stays in with her Shaman. Doesn't make much sense to me. I cannot believe that thing just lived a crit. I suppose it's way more specially defensive than I had anticipated, because if Star had not critical hitted, if Star had not gotten a critical hit, that Shaman would have got a sub. Even so, I don't think there was any reason not to go to Gigalith. I suppose Substitute is a more safe play, but because Star gets the crit, he's going to be in a fantastic position here. This Shaman is dead, but at the same time, Gigalith can come in and wall Miss Magius forever. But she just decides to go to Escavalier. It doesn't make much sense to me. They run Protect, but she's gonna die to a Shadow Ball if she doesn't Protect, and Star could Nasty Plot if she does. Okay, so Star just decides to go to Gligar, save his Miss Magius, I don't know, and decide not to let it. He decides to save the sack or potentially use it for Shadow Ball later in the game, but I feel like it's gonna be used more as a sack. He's weakened the Escavalier, so once again, I'm wondering, well, Sharpedo is still his win condition, I feel like, and I'm wondering what Tyrantrum set it is. It might be Rock Polish Z move, which also could be a win condition if he sets it up at the right time. The thing is, Gligar walls most of Arii Stella's team, except Sharpedo, but she doesn't want to let Sharpedo take too much damage. But it's good for Star that Gligar is going to force the Sharpedo in. And I think his play is to sack Miss Magius. I feel as if Gligar is more useful to him right now. And Registeel still walls this Sharpedo. But Star has to hit a Toxic through a potential Waterfall flinch. Okay. Once again, Arii Stella Special Sharpedo, which is worse in both games. Special Sharpedo, in my opinion, is just worse outright than physical. And he doesn't even need to Toxic because he's just not afraid of being 2-hit KO'd by this Hydro Pump. Yeah, it's going to do nothing. And Special Sharpedo honestly showing why it kind of sucks. I really hate this set. And it misses. This is pretty much an over game because Sharpedo is Arii Stella's only way to win the game. Earthquake from Gigalith, I don't even know if it will KO Registeel, plus she's slower, so it doesn't really matter. And Star is just going to wear this Gigalith down. He can Seismic Toss and then sweep with Sharpedo. Physical Sharpedo runs Psychic Fangs and Special runs Ice Beam. So either way, he's able to damage this Dragalge and he'll finish the game pretty easily. Arii chooses to sack her Gigalith instead. It makes sense because Dragalge probably outspeeds Sharpedo. But then Tyrantrum's just going to click Outrage and win this game. And yeah, that's what he does, and that's game over. So thanks guys for watching. Sorry once again for the poor quality on the last video. I'll try to fix it, and sorry for my computer fan. I just don't have the money to buy a new computer, so if it's really a deal breaker, I will try to get better headphones. I already bought this headset, and it helped alleviate the problem, but maybe not completely. And just let me know about any feedback, and thanks for watching guys. Peace.